I haven't gone outside in 10 years. At 16, my father convinced me I was deathly allergic to the modern world. A boy from school asked me to prom, and Dad's face went dark when I told him. The outside world has become toxic for pure girls like you, he said. The air is full of chemicals that react badly with your specific genetics. He showed me articles about pollution, sick building syndrome, electromagnetic hypersensitivity, said our family had a rare condition that made us vulnerable. My older sister had supposedly died from exposure when she went to college. The reactions started small. Every time I went outside, I'd suddenly feel dizzy or nauseous. Dad would rush me inside, give me medicine, and hold me while I recovered. I didn't know he was putting sedatives in my morning orange juice, timing them to hit whenever I left the house. Within 6 months, I was having full panic attacks just thinking about going outside. See how your body warns you? He'd say, stroking my hair while I shook. It knows the danger even if your mind doesn't. He pulled me out of school for medical reasons, told everyone I had severe environmental illness, even got a doctor friend to write notes. My room became my world. He installed special air filters that he said were the only thing keeping me alive. The windows were sealed to prevent contamination. I watched from my window as life passed by. Former friends going to college, getting married, having careers. Dad brought me everything I needed, controlled everything I saw. The computer had parental controls even though I was 26. The TV only got certain channels. Books had to be approved for triggering content that might weaken your immunity. My days blurred together. Wake up dizzy from the previous night's medicine. Breakfast with Dad where he'd remind me how lucky I was to be safe. Online classes he'd chosen, always subjects that kept me dependent. Lunch alone while he worked. Dinner together where he'd tell me about the chaos and danger outside. Evening medicine that made me too foggy to question anything. Sleep, repeat. When I was 20, I tried to leave. Made it to the front door before the reaction hit. Heart racing, throat closing, vision tunneling. Dad found me collapsed on the porch and carried me inside. You almost died, he said, injecting me with something that knocked me out for 2 days. When I woke up, he'd installed locks I couldn't reach and alarms on all the windows. The thing about isolation is that it makes you doubt your own reality. When Dad was my only human contact, his truth became the truth. Maybe I really was allergic. The few times relatives visited, they were kept brief. She's very fragile, Dad would explain, ushering them out after minutes. But bodies don't lie forever. When I was 26, Dad had a heart attack. I watched him collapse in the kitchen, clutching his chest. Every instinct screamed at me to go outside, get help, call someone, but my body wouldn't move. 10 years of conditioning had created invisible chains. I managed to call 911 from inside, whispering to them about my condition, begging them to come in. The paramedics found me pressed against the far wall, shaking, while Dad lay dying 10 feet away. They saved him, barely. While he was in the hospital, his sister Claire came to watch me. Claire didn't believe in my allergies. This is ridiculous, she said, throwing open windows I hadn't seen opened in a decade. Fresh air hit me, and I waited to die. Nothing happened except I could finally breathe properly. She found Dad's medicine cabinet, bottles of sedatives, anxiolytics, antihistamines, enough to keep someone docile and confused for years. He's been drugging you, she said, holding up the bottles. These aren't allergy medications. They're psychiatric drugs. She showed me Dad's internet history on his laptop. Searches for how to induce agoraphobia, sedatives that cause panic symptoms, keeping adult children dependent, forums where he discussed his success, keeping me safe from modern degeneracy. Claire wanted to call the police, but I begged her not to. I still felt loyal to him. Stockholm syndrome runs deep. She stayed for a week, slowly reducing my medications, opening doors, letting reality creep back in. The first time I stepped outside without being drugged, I cried. The sun felt like a miracle I'd forgotten existed. But Dad came home eventually. Claire had to leave. She had her own life. And I stood at the threshold, looking at him in his wheelchair, still weak from his heart attack. He looked so fragile, so old, so dependent on me now. You need to take your medicine, he said, holding out the familiar white pills. You've been outside. You'll get sick. I stared at the pills. 10 years of my life in those little white circles. 10 years of being a ghost in my own existence. But also, 10 years of being safe and loved. I know what they are, I said quietly. I know what you've done. His face didn't change. I protected you. The world would have destroyed you like it destroyed your sister. She's a lawyer in Seattle. She's married. She has kids. She's corrupted. Lost. You're pure. I looked at the door, wide open. Claire had removed the locks before she left. I could walk out right now, but Dad needed me. Full story on channel link below.